I suggest the teachers to trust their students because the students can adapt more easily than us due to their ages, of course. So I can tell them that you can use any specific online methodology because the students can adapt very easily. Don't think of, I mean, don't concern about their adaptation. If we adapt as teachers, they can adapt much more easier than us because they are, good to technology. They have been born to technology, so they can use any specific tool for problem solving or communication, any tool they can use.
Well, the thing online is that people tend to be an individual. So we also need to focus on methods that work by creating some kind of synergy when 4 or 5 people are together. So here you have to look for creative methods that are more on an individual level. What I try to focus on is that focus that works for the individual and methods that work in your homes, where the students could use their home as part of the thing of being creative. I also think it's important to understand some of the basics of how different creative techniques work. Some of them really have their strength in the synergy between people. You might achieve that online as well, but then you would be dependent on some technical means, in my opinion, that the internet connection is stable. And maybe some intuitive tools in how can we share our thoughts and so forth. Some might have a screen that they can draw on, but then is the quality of a sufficient quality for others to actually understand what they draw and so forth?
I think experimenting, I mean, be creative yourself and feel free to experiment new ideas.
I can say that read more, learn more, and search more. And first, get the attention of the students, make them excited. Later, find a very creative question and get their thoughts.
The only one that I would say, it's not to replace everything entirely, but also lessons learned from COVID, if you like, not to go back to being stuck in a room with each other. And I think the technology definitely has enhanced the creativity and how we do it. So I would say to embrace it, but not replace the cultural interactions. The one thing I did find with the creativity is getting the individual a platform to speak and to articulate their idea and their viewpoint was really, really beneficial. But it is important as well, wipe the slate clean. Don't make the group build on one person's ideas. Get everybody, if you like, to communicate their idea or their thought, and then wipe the slate clean, because that way they've listened to each other and you are starting to get each person to see from multiple viewpoints. And it's that second round that I found is really where the creativity, if you like, comes in a lot more. And the other one, not to penalize students, if you like, it's not about getting it right. It's just about giving it a try and having equal amount of benefit and reward to the student for just trying. Because what's holding a lot of the students back, I find sometimes they're afraid to get the wrong answer or that they might be wrong. And that kind of holds them back that little bit, where if there is a reward system, just actually, communicate your idea, because even if it's wrong and it's that they misunderstood it, that can point back to the way that the idea or the problem was communicated in the first place. It can always solve to improve, or be used to improve. So they'd be kind of the issues I had, it's really about the listening and facilitating that. So that would be my my 3 little tips and tricks.
I think it's knowing the motivation or having motivated students makes a huge difference. I think being able to have numbers, small enough numbers for breakout rooms that you can put them into breakout rooms and be able to work with them online that way. And they're much more likely to ask questions if they're in groups of 3 or 4 or 5 than in groups of 48 or 50. They're not going to do that. But with that comes extra resources. So if you're going to do a breakout session for 45 in it and there's 50, you need 10 facilitators there to do that. So that's something. I would also kind of have it so that maybe 15-20 minutes material that you're delivering, no more than 20 minutes, because attention spans are probably less than that now, courtesy of TikTok. So we could bring 15 minutes and then kind of get them working and doing stuff for another 15 minutes, and then come back and reinforce what they've learned. So you need to be very careful of the timings. The traditional, let's go up and talk for 45 minutes or an hour and then do Q&A at the end. That doesn't really work online, and particularly for creativity. Then it's learn by doing. So learn by doing, they have to do stuff, but you have to kind of curate it. And templates are a really good way, and kind of give them an incentive or motivate them. A lot of the students that come on our enterprise challenges, they want jobs in SAP and Boston Scientific. They want to get it onto their CV, and they see the benefits of it. So they want to engage. So, it's motivational tips. It's keep the numbers small if you can at all. It's make it practical, that type of stuff, and keep it short. Short and snappy is much better.
Over them. I think the choreography of an online session is far more complex and less forgiving than in real life. And you cannot ad-lib. It's very hard to fill silences if you run into silence. So I think that whole, like the production, the facilitators, I think, and it's not something we really used in our sessions because of the nature of them, but even including things like music and films that add to the complexity when you're sharing them online. Like, you cannot underestimate how important it is to a really good session that they run well, and that people can hear the video and all of these things that so I think having a practice run, having a background team who are working with you to make sure that everything is running as it is, they would be an icebreakers. So if you have a group and you're trying to get them to be creative and you're trying to kind of build energy, have icebreakers that translate to an online world, because not all icebreakers do. I've seen epic fails and epic successes in the icebreaker section. So it's to find ones that resonate if you're doing online.